dealing with technology, you never know, so you're never in control. But guess what? We're here. Thank you for joining us. I'm Valencia Stovall, the host of Issues and Answers. Our topic today is food security and early education. You are listening to the new WCEG Network, WCEGTalkRadio.com, or you can watch us on Smart TV, YouTube, WCEG Network. We are the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. Well, I have to always give the disclaimer. The topics and opinions that are those of the show hosts and guests and not of WCEG Network. And we want to thank you for your continued support to us and to this particular show. So, I start each show with taking a moment to remember those who are no longer here with us and to send prayers to their families. We also like to thank those who continue to be on the front line to keep us safe and ensure we are healthy and our immediate needs are met. So we appreciate that. And we also salute each one of you. So let's just jump right into the show for today. We have as our special guest in this afternoon, Wande Okunoren-Meadows. She's the director of Little Ones Learning Center and Hand, Heart, and Soul Project. I have to practice that, y'all. Welcome, Wande, to Issues and Answers with myself, Valencia Stovall.
Thank you.
Yes, and so audience, please feel free to post your comments or questions that you might have as we are having this discussion. And of course, if time permits, we will answer those questions and comment accordingly. So, I have known, for those who may not know, I've known about Little Ones Early Learning Center since about 2013, I believe. Every year, Georgia Voices for Children hosts a pre-K week in Georgia. And they always ask the elected officials, when I was a legislator, to come and read to the early learning centers in our district. Although Little Ones was not officially in my district, but there were parents who attended Little Ones who were my constituents at that time. And so I remember going to read, I think it was like 3 different classes. I was just excited. The energy is always high when you're doing a pre-K week reading. But from there, we definitely were able to form a good working relationship and partnership that has lasted through the years. And, when I think about early learning centers or anything early learning, Wande and Miss O, her mother, are my number one go-to. I have some others I go to, but if it's a quick answer I need about, hey, does this make sense or doesn't make sense, I'm calling Little Ones. We also served on Governor Deal's Education Reform Commission together on the subcommittee for early education. And I definitely learned a lot because I didn't know anything about early learning. I just know take your child to the early learning center. And that's where I got educated. Do not say daycare. So I've been practicing that for many years to say early learning. So Wande, please tell us a little bit about when Little Ones got started was first started in Forest Park, and some of the unique things about Little Ones that makes it, in my opinion, stand out when you're looking at early learning centers.
Yeah, well, thank you, Honorable Valencia Stovall. Thank you for inviting us to the show. Little Ones actually predates my mother's tenure. It was here and it was owned by Marion Roberts way back. I believe it's been here since the 70s and the 80s. And my mother purchased it back in 1995. And we've had it ever since then. So originally, my mother wanted to, she knew she wanted to do something, whether or not it's the prison ministry or something, but she knew she wanted to work in this community. And we came out here in 1995, and we've been here ever since, just to make sure that we're doing things that provide opportunity and access, and we're not doing some type of savior mentality work, but true, meaningful, grassroots meaningful things that can really, really serve the children and the population that is meant to be impacted.
Okay. Now, so tell me a little bit about this garden. You all have, I would say, the famous garden. And what was the reason for starting the garden? And also, how has it changed the healthy eating habits of the children, and not only children, but their parents?
Yes, so the garden was started back in 2013. And at first we were just wanting to do something. It was the swimming pool, and the swimming pool, it was costing a lot of maintenance, as we all know. It costs a lot for insurance, lifeguard, maintenance. Um, it was just a lot. So it had gone unused, underutilized for many, many, many years. And all of a sudden, one of our parents had said, why don't you turn it into a garden? I was like, garden? Like, we're not doing a garden. I'm a city chick. Like, I don't garden. And so we did. We under the cover of night, we got in the bulldozers, we tore down the fence, and we did it. We turned it into a garden. Sometime after that, we walked into Home Depot. We had a lot of community supporters. Tony Dixon actually was the brainchild. Many people probably don't know about that. Was the brain behind turning it into a garden.
Okay.
And it was her idea. Her and my mother, talked about it, and that's how it came to fruition. And so maybe 6 months later, or maybe a year later, sometime after that, there was this tragic death of a toddler at another early learning program in Atlanta. And, just through what we were seeing happen, we really wanted to uplift this child and bring awareness and equity to the situation, and make sure that her legacy lived on and her parents knew that she was not forgotten. And every year, her parents come out to our center. Thus the name Jasmine Green Community Garden. And it's just a wonderful reminder of her life, and paying tribute and allowing her parents to remind us about the importance of never forgetting children in vehicles.
Wow, that was a great tribute, especially for something that happened tragically, but being able to now serve so many years later, serve the community. So tell me, how were you all able to get the children to start eating healthy, being that when they go home, they may not be eating those healthy snacks?
Well, first we had to get stuff growing first. Mind you,
Okay.
I'm a city chick. Like we didn't know what we were doing. The first year we planted, we didn't have raised beds, so we were growing. So at the same time we're growing tomatoes, there's also weeds that are growing. So we were growing tomatoes, weeds, dandelion, more weeds, and more weeds. And so that was a challenge, just trying to figure out how to make sure that we were actually growing things that we could eat and keeping away the weeds. So the first time we were like, oh, okay, look, like let's go get some ortho killer or whatever. And I was like, so we're killing it, but we killed the tomatoes, we killed the greens, we killed everything in the garden. It wasn't just killing the weeds. It made a mess. And they were like, no, like this isn't right, because we're putting pesticides back into the food, into the ground that we're eating. We're just making a flat out mess up of little ones. But that's part of the wonderful thing about growth. Like you're talking about people that we really did not know what we were doing. It was a true growth and learning opportunity. And we still have no idea, we are not farmers. Like I didn't go to agricultural school.
Right.
We don't have that technical training, but it is a learning process. We have lots of partners that work with us to help guide us. So that's a really interesting question. How do you get the stuff that we do here to transfer home? It comes from the kids when they do the work at the school, then we hope that it transfers. So it has to be I don't want to say it has to be a complete 365, because that means you're starting back at square one. You're starting back at zero. So it has to be a complete 180. So when kids take ownership, when kids actually are putting the seeds into the ground, and then when they're in the classroom, when they're making these wonderful, blueberry tarts, when they're actually being immersed in the program, it transfers home. Kids don't want to be talked at. They don't want you to preach to them. They want to be part of the process. So then, you're going to the store with your child, and your child all of a sudden is asking for purple rat, or purple potatoes, or whatever it is. I mean, it becomes part of who they are. It becomes part of their natural way of being. And I always talk about the story about, this was several years ago, and one of our teachers could share this story. Our kids were out in the garden, and I don't know if it was a radish. I always forget if it was a radish or a carrot. And so they're out in the garden. They just pick the carrots and pick the radishes. They just eat right from the garden. So the child had gone home, and the grandfather had called our center, and he was livid. I mean, just upset. And he said, how dare that we allow the kids to eat? Like, don't we know that we have to, put chemicals on it to kill whatever's outside? And that told us right there, we are not doing enough to engage our families and our parents. Because if we're only teaching the children and not bringing the parents and the families and the community into our work, then everything we do during the day is going to be washed away from what the messaging that is heard at home. So we really started working to make sure that we brought our parents inside, and started engaging them and making sure that our messaging is getting through to the parents. I don't want to use the word educate parents, because parents know, but let the parents see what it is that we're doing. So we try to be very, very intentional about working with our parents.
That's outstanding. Because we hear a lot about food deserts. We know that Clayton County is a food desert. Even the south part of Atlanta, right, coming into Clayton County, is a food desert. And for those who may not know, you've heard the terminology food desert, but you might, what do they mean by the food desert? That means that there's not access to affordable fresh fruits and vegetables that are within a certain distance of people that are in need of those fresh fruits and vegetables. And you think of the terminology as a desert, something that's bland, or you can't find anything, it's just empty. And that's what it is. So it's not to say we don't have any grocery stores, we do, but when it comes down to fresh fruits and vegetables and it's affordable, right now it costs a lot to be healthy, and it shouldn't be like that. So one alternative what Little Ones has done is to now, we'll grow our own. And you all, as you see around in different areas, not just in Clayton County, many communities have now incorporated community gardens, which is fantastic. And so that's one of the things that when you start, how do you combat food deserts? Well, you have to create your own. Of course, you have to know what you're doing. Like Wande said that they didn't know, but they have you all have a master gardener, or?
Yeah, she's not a master gardener, but we have lots of different gardeners. She might call herself a master gardener, but the gardener that we had before the one we have now, she had a degree, a master's degree, but the one that we have right now, she is a talented gardener. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been over to the school several times, of course, before the pandemic, and I have tasted the nice, tasty treats, and you'll be surprised of how tasteful they are and how decorative they make them look, so they don't just look like you just put some carrots on the plate or some zucchini or anything. And then knowing that the kids are actually eating some of that food that's coming out of the garden also makes a huge difference as well. And so tell me a little bit about, how did you come up with the idea of the Little Lions Farmstead?
Let's see. I'm trying to think how it came about. I think how most things normally come about at the center. I'm usually having a dream, and I come to the center and I say, hey guys, like Team Little Ones, let's do X, Y, Z. And the staff are usually like, oh no, not again. But I really do think that's how it happened. We were starting to have some yields and produce at the center, and we don't grow enough to have all of our meals cooked with it. But a lot of it is used for taste tests and educational purposes. And really it is used to, just as much as kids value, or we as parents sometimes want our kids to value their clothes and their tennis shoes, we also want our children to value the soil. We want those kids to value the air and, Mother Nature. So we said, why not sell some of the food that we're growing? And that's what we did. So it really just started out as a project, really.
And I know that, and I visited the Little Lions farm stand, and your staff is definitely very fantastic when it comes down to being dedicated to that cause. And I know that the stand was up and running, and then I talk about policies and how they affect everything that you do in life. Policies affect it, and so what happened with Little Ones, there was a policy that was on the books for the city of Forest Park, and that said that the farm stand could no longer operate in its current condition. And so I think Wande reached out to me at the time. I was still state representative. I contacted the city to try to figure out what was going on. And long story short, because it is a long story, and if you all want to Google Little Ones Learning Center and put in farm stand, you will see all the write-ups in the newspaper. It even went international with the closing of that farm stand. And remember, I told you all we're in the food desert. And so long story short, the city council finally came back, mayor and city council came back and changed that ordinance because they was trying to make Little Ones take a permit out, an event permit, every time they were opening up the stand. And so anyway, they changed the ordinance so they can operate it. But the kicker was, which I didn't agree with, was that no other early learning center, it was within a 1 mile radius or with certain radius could not operate a farm stand as well.
Yeah, there was a lot of legal lease wrangling, and I believe it was quoted in the paper that the city manager, the reporter had asked the city manager at the time, why, what is the opposition to the farm stand? Mm-hmm. And I believe the city manager had mentioned, if we give them a permit or if we allow this farm stand, there could be farm stands everywhere. And I think that was such a shocking statement. That a city official would say something like, what is the fear of having farm stands everywhere? You want fresh food everywhere. There's a McDonald's everywhere. There's McDonald's everywhere, y'all. Like, there's a liquor store everywhere. There are strip clubs everywhere. Mm-hmm. And we're not shocked about that.
Yeah. And I thought that was unfortunate with that particular ordinance because it doesn't allow the creativity of other early learning centers to be able to have the opportunity to do the same thing that you all were doing. And we're talking about affecting lives starting at an early age and changing eating habits so that we don't have so many health issues in our communities. In our communities that are underserved, they have the highest rate of all pre-existing diseases that happen, and it all results back to how we're eating, what type of food we're doing. We being active outside of the home. So I thought it could have been a great opportunity because guess what? City of Forest Park could have been known as the city with the most farm stands located on the premises of early learning centers and could have supported it. Yes, we have the farmers market there, but the farmers market is not directly in the community and you have to drive to get to that farmers market. And a lot of times even the food there is not fresh fruit. Is coming from one of the other businesses that are located there. Sometimes it's there a couple of days. So anyway, we won't get into all of that, but it would have been a great opportunity. So I'm glad that mayor, city council majority, and then there was a crazy one of the city council members, and you all can look it up when you Google it, said something about the stand being open is going to invite pedophiles to come near the center. And everybody was looking like, what? Anyway, you all have to read it for yourself so you won't think I'm lying. But we're so excited about the Little Lions farm stand. Now, when can the public come and visit the Little Lions farm stand?
Yes, we would love to have it's open to the public. You cannot come inside the building. It's right outside the center in our parking lot. The first and third Wednesday of every month from 1 to 5:30 right now, but we are strongly considering extending those hours for working families. We accept cash, credit card, and EBT purchases. And EBT, where we double 2 for 1. So for every dollar you get 2, it turns into $2. Fresh produce, and also the produce that we offer. Of course, we don't have enough to source directly from our garden, but we also partner with local farms. So we're very intentional. Our produce is not coming from New York, South Carolina. We are supporting our local farmers, and we're even more intentional about supporting our local Black farmers that are socially and economically disadvantaged. So we're very intentional about making sure that we lift those local Black and socially disadvantaged farmers in our area.
That's fantastic. Yes. So Little Ones is located, is it 992 Forest Avenue?
993 Forest Avenue.
Okay, I almost had it. 993 Forest Avenue in Forest Park. So make sure if you're in the area and you want some fresh fruit and vegetables, definitely stop by to help support Little Lions farm stand. And also, next project that Wande allowed me to put, is so many of them, but the next one, it was another one I was on, but I was on the panel for talking about early learning. But the most recent one was dealing with the food crossing line, the movie screening. And I understand that you all are having an event on this Friday, but I think all the tickets have been are gone, right? I saw some online.
Somebody was calling me about that. I didn't know. Like, my mom doesn't even have a ticket. My brother doesn't have a ticket. I didn't know it was going to sell like that. So I don't know. I got to make some phone calls.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about how the idea of the food crossing line came to Little Ones.
In a dream, again, just to document the. There's so many times that I think people go through things, and unless there is recorded history, the story either gets mistold or is not accurately represented. And I don't want anybody or anything, a different narrative being told. And I want to have some kind of written videography, some kind of memento as far as our journey. And who knows? I mean, it might turn into something else, but it's just so important to make sure that those that are doing the work those voices are lifted, because it's not even me. Like, this whole farm to early childhood education, the farm stand, it's our gardener, it's our teachers, it's our parents, like at the most basic level of this work. It's those teachers in the classrooms that are imparting this knowledge into our kids, that are pouring into our kids. And as much as possible, I want to try to lift those voices that are quote unquote behind the scenes, because even we talk about, the food deserts. At the other end, it's, we have the food swamps, right? There is a lot of, like, Forest Park that has a lot of food, but there's an abundance of fast food. There's, like I said, convenience stores. There's just not a whole lot of healthy options. So our farm stand is meant to have that counter narrative. And, we're not just trying to stop with Little Lions. Like, if all we do is have Little Lions farm stand, we're not doing enough. What does it look like to have a farm stand at another childcare program, at other places, at a church? Like, that is our vision. And that's what the Hand, Heart, Soul Project, which is our nonprofit portion, that is the mission of one of our focal points. We work on education, we work on lifting and elevating voices, we work on advocacy, and then we work on wellness. So for the wellness portion, it's absolutely about helping others to bring about farm stands who want it. So whether or not it's mobile or others, but if it's just Little Lions farm stand, if Little Ones is only the ones that has a farm stand, we have not done our job.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things I have always admired about you and Miss O and your staff. You all always have a big heart of sharing. It's nothing about, well, this is my center and we're just going to keep it to ourselves and we're not going to share it. You all are always sharing, just like with the back to school block party that we have done. We did 2 years, of course. It started off at Forest Park Middle School, and then we did 2 years at Forest Park High School, I believe, or was it 1 year?
I think last year was our first year.
Okay.
In 2019 was our first year.
Okay. And so, and we're excited about coming up again with school. I know everybody's talking about, wait a minute, Stovall, school getting ready to end. You already thinking about coming back to school? Yeah, you have to plan early, and especially with the pandemic, all kind of things, may happen. So we start planning. We started planning actually today. So you all be on the lookout for getting information about how to participate with the back to school block party. It will be, of course, an outside event. We will have vendors, and we also have opportunities for sponsorship. So those of you all who have some little extra money, you haven't spent up all your stimulus money or your business, and you want to be able to promote it. And I think not last year, but year before last, we had about 1,000, maybe 900 to 1,000, maybe about 1,000 people that actually came out for the event. And the other special part with the back to school block party, Wanda, you want to talk about the partnership with the Atlanta Community Food Bank?
Yeah, that was awesome. Like we were the Atlanta Community Food Bank really did an amazing partnership. So the food that they were giving out was the type of food that we absolutely stand behind and support. So it was a lot of fresh food. It was not a whole lot of shelf stable food that we were giving out. So, I tell people, I don't want the same food that's putting me in the hospital. I don't want that stuff. They talk about our people are the only people that give, they serve the stuff at the funeral, the same stuff that they put us in the casket. I don't want that. So, I can't wait. So we are going to do the same thing again this year. We don't know what kind of food that we'll be distributing. Hopefully it's lots of good fresh produce, but it's going to be limited. So you're going to have to get with Ms. Stovall and catch that link and make sure you get there early. But it'll be awesome. It's not, so make sure that you are signing up for the block party. We are the only ones that do a block party, not a back to school bash. Right. Ours is a party.
Yes. And we have so much fun. We've had it. And of course, like I said, we're looking at some innovative ways that we can still bring the same level of energy that we've done in years past when it comes and even educating our parents on what to expect with school coming back. So we don't want you just coming and picking up school supplies. No, you got to get some education, some empowerment when you're coming to our events. And that's our goal in each time. Now, I remember last year, about in August, Hand, Heart, and Soul Project was, and Little Ones was distributing food boxes. So I remember us having a 15-passenger van, the Go Stovall team, and we were distributing food boxes all over. And I think it might have been, my count may be off. I know it was at least 800. It probably was more than that. But we were really doing that. And so talk about some of the partners that you all partner with Little Ones and the Hand, Heart, and Soul Project.
Oh, wow. We have a lot of partners. It's so many. So we work with the National Farmers School Network. We work with, as far as advocacy, Georgia Child Care Association. We work with Quality Care for Children. Work with GEARS, which is Georgia Early Education Alliance for Ready Students. As far as Little Ones Learning Center is concerned, work with the National Black Child Development Institute. Georgia Organics. I'm having brain farts.
But that's okay. But in other words, there are a lot of partners that help support Little Ones and Hand, Heart, and Soul Project. And you can't serve a community by and not have good partners. Good partnerships are very, very important for any project that you're doing. And they've been so fortunate and blessed to be able to have some good partners that are continuous partners. They don't just partner with them on one event. They always ask, what else y'all are doing? What else you doing? What else can we help with? And I know that you have, we talked about the food boxes. That y'all know I have a list. It's so much. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything that I want to make sure we talked about. So Wande, as parents are now, of course, getting ready for school to end, and there were so many challenges with our young people, especially in the early education space. What are some tips that you would like to share with parents of those early years that they may have not thought about, especially with the pandemic and the kids going to be home? What are a few tips that you would like to share with parents and family members who will be engaging with those early learners?
First of all, I want to tell parents to let go of the guilt. It's like everyone is doing the best that they can with what they have. I don't know, sometimes I feel like parents, especially the ones that are coming in now, they're like, but my child can't. Well, neither can nobody. Everyone's in the same boat right now. They're in the same boat. So when I'm seeing, it's when I'm doing these orientations, because all of our parents have to have an orientation before they enroll their child at our center. Like, no, you can't just pay your fees and come in here. Like, we got to make sure that we're a good fit for each other. And so they're saying but my child can't talk well. And these kids are like 2.5, 3 years old. Everybody, all of them are in that same boat because they've all isolated their children for the past year or so. Mm-hmm. And so where are we supposed to go? So you have 4-year-olds that are going to be going into kindergarten. A year ago, teachers were expecting these kids to have pre-literacy skills and to know how to read. I've sat here at our center and watched our kids cry in front of a monitor because they can't understand this verb. They can't understand. They don't understand. You can't teach somebody how to read through a screen. You can't do that. And to expect parents to work a full-time job, some of them working 2 jobs, and then to get off and come home and then try to teach their child a full day's worth of work, it's just not realistic. It's not. Mm-hmm. So the best thing I can say is for parents just to reassure their child, just to provide a level of reassurance and just read. Just read and just read and just read. I know that sounds like so simple, but I don't know. I don't have the solutions to this mess that we're in. And when the story is over, there's going to be a lot of conversations that need to be had to discuss this mess that we're in and how it happened, why some of us did not communicate as well as we should have. Mm-hmm. It's because it's a mess. I don't have a pretty answer to say to that.
Right. I think that particular those tips, being patient and not, because sometimes some parents are very competitive. Mm-hmm. And even at that early age, something I used to watch when my children were on the T-ball. My daddy coached the T-ball. And you would watch some of the parents, you'd be like, wait a minute, they about 4 years old, calm down. They're just 3 and 4. You think they're going to be some athletic stars at 3 and 4? Calm down.
There's no scholarships on this T-ball field right now. No scholarships. Right.
Right. So parents, like Wande said, you got to be patient and understand we were all going through some unprecedented times for our children. And that there are learning losses, and they're going to probably continue to be some learning losses until we're able to figure out the best way to, I would say, reimagine education. Mm-hmm. Definitely an opportunity. You all have heard me say this before. Opportunity to restructure our education system. Started here in Georgia, and then of course, nationally, but it takes a little bit more work when you start talking about national because each state has different policies that they follow and trying to get people to change. But why not start here in Georgia, especially with the early learning, our early learning students, because they're the ones that are pipeline into our K through 12. And if they don't get it on that foundation, they're going to struggle and struggle and struggle. And that's why you end up seeing a lot of K through 12 schools end up trying to do so much remediation and all of that. So parents, like she said, read to your children. And if some of them are able to read to you, take those devices away from them. You know, you got to have a break time from those devices and sometimes parents, you can't because the kids start crying. You don't want to hear them crying and you want to give them the device. No, You got to discipline them because when school starts back, they're not going to have those devices like that. So read to your children. The library, our libraries are open all across the state. I know in Clayton County, they've opened up. I heard Fulton County opening their libraries back up. So you can be able to go in and check out a book. You have some places that have the little stand. What's the little book stand that you can be able to put a book in and get a book?
Nooks, like the lending library, the book nooks.
Yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities for you to read, even if you want to get on your computer and find a story and read it from your computer, but you got to read because it's important for the kids to hear those words and everything, and be patient. And then also make your children feel good. If they listening and they able to repeat back, you ask them questions about what did you read to them, and they're able to tell you what it is. Good job. So everybody's got to be encouraged, especially during the summertime with that. And so Wanda, if they wanted to contact you to find out more about Little Ones and Hand, Heart, and Soul, what is the contact information?
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about our nonprofit and the work that we do, and just so that I can differentiate, so Little Ones is a learning center, an early childhood center. Hand, Heart, Soul Project, it takes the work of Little Ones and it magnifies it. It benefits the community. It's the elevator. It brings the work of Little Ones to scale, and so that is how we can take the work of a for-profit organization and maximize it so it's a benefit to the greater community. And so I'm very specific and I'm very clear. And Heart Soul Project is specifically to reach and serve our Clayton community. We are not trying to reach Metro Atlanta. We're not trying to reach all of Georgia. Our work is specifically for Clayton County. Like, let us try to work on Clayton before we try to expand to Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta has lots of organizations supporting Metro Atlanta. We're just trying to support Clayton County right now. So Wande, Wande, at handheartsoulproject.org.
Okay. And then you can always Google, that's everybody's friend is Googling and finding out more information. And then if you missed something that you didn't catch, you can always reach out to me and I definitely connect you all. And for the back to school block party, we are looking for volunteers that we're going to need. Volunteers are always essential along with our partners. So you all be on the lookout for that. I have a few announcements, but I thank you, Wanda. You can definitely stay on. And I know it's almost closing time. So you all may see her dip in and out, and you probably heard the bell ringing because parents are coming to pick up the kids. And so she's on the ground working while she's taking time to meet with us. And we really, really appreciate you joining us on Issues and Answers. Was there anything closing, anything else that I did not cover that you would like to say to the listening audience?
Well, I just want to thank you for having us on, and thank you for your constant work that you do in the community, and thank you for lifting voices, and thank you for being a working legislator. We appreciate just the many years of service that you've done, and even after being out of office, the work that you continue to do, and not forgetting about your community. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about the work that is so very passionate to all of us. And just thank you for all the listeners that are out here. And we're almost at the end of the tunnel, I hope, with COVID, but none of us have the answer to this, but we will get through this hopefully together. And lots of stories to tell.
Yes, most definitely. And I appreciate you all, and definitely tell Miss O I said hello to that Ryan's. Miss O, I said hello.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
all right. And we'll be taking a summer break with our show with issues and answers for at least probably the next 2 months. So you won't see any of our live feeds. There'll be some repeated shows, some of the ones that were well, all my shows are good. So it's gonna be hard to kind of be able to tell that, but we'll see what we work out with WCEG Talk Radio. Really appreciate Penny and the staff with our with WCEG. And so, but you know what? You all, there may be some things that come up, and I end up jumping on my Facebook Live to bring you up to speed on some things. And you can always send an email to me, the contact at ghoststovall.com. And also, I did a survey recently on my Facebook, and I was definitely telling everybody I was strongly considering running again for another elected position. I had not made a decision on what that's going to be, and I really appreciate my family and Facebook friends for chiming in to give their opinion. And of course, yes, I'm going to pray about it and see which way God leads me, in which direction that I will be the most effective in. And so I'm going to give y'all some of the suggestions. Was mayor, state senate, commissioner, school board, senator again. Y'all know I ran for U.S. Senate. Some people said return back to your state representative seat. Someone said commission chair. And so there were a lot of different opinions. And then, of course, a lot of people said, whatever it is that you feel compassionate about doing. So I have not made a decision yet. I'm kind of enjoying private life, but it seems like people are I still get phone calls as if I'm elected. So I just shift the information other places. And also, when it comes down to the position, so you all will know when I make that decision for running for office. And I want to talk to you about the Georgia Youth Career Center. If you're a young adult who is unsure about your career future, definitely check out my website, www.gayouthcareercenter.com. And of course, you all heard me talk about the back to school block party, July the 30th. We are confirming on the location. We hadn't decided yet where it's going to be, but you all will know about that as well. On this Thursday, I will be a guest speaker on the Georgia Can building. Building. You all know I'm up here with my dad, and so you all hear him talking in the background. He doesn't realize that I'm still doing my show, so I'm going to move a little bit faster. The Georgia Can Building Relationships is sponsoring a workshop, and I'll be speaking about how do you build a relationship with your elected officials. And of course, I'll be speaking from experience. For have been elected for 8 years, and then also from being in the community for over 30 years. So thank you all again for joining us on Issues and Answers. Honorable Valencia Stovall, and be on the lookout for that announcement. Be on the lookout for other projects that we'll be working on along the way. And have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your evening, and you all be safe.